So Ultimate Wolverine has officially joined the opposition, and as a result, their first mission leads them to face the Angel Specimen. In addition to that, it looks like Magic, Colossus, and Omega Red have found a way to take out the opposition for good. Now, this story here is coming out of Ultimate Wolverine by Chris Condon, and we're going to be circling back here to issues number 7, and then we're going to be covering issue number 8 as well. So where we pick up on things is days after Logan has been freed from the Eurasia Republic's control, and currently right now he's over at the opposition hideout. Now, as expected here, Logan is having a very hard time adjusting to life after being the Winter Soldier, and as Kitty decides to join him, he's currently here reflecting on how he's a killer, and he has a lot of regrets. The main one being right now that he was the one that killed Nightcrawler and also Mystique. So Kitty tries to comfort him, right? Let him know that it wasn't his fault. It was the Eurasia Republic that was controlling him. And for a moment, the way that she puts her arms on Logan, by the way, makes me feel like maybe they had some type of romantic relationship in the past, but let's move on because she's currently with Remy right now. But as it pertains here to what Kitty said to Logan, like that doesn't really matter to Logan because the way that he sees it is that I still have the evidence. Or at least the evidence is laced inside of him right now with these new claws. And he can tell that everyone around him is still scared of what he is, and he doesn't really blame them at all. But then Kitty chimes in here, reminding Logan of why he joined the opposition here in the first place. It's because he saw what was happening to people like him, and he wanted to help. And unfortunately, she continues on, she's like, when it comes to war, sometimes you win, and then sometimes you lose. But the way that she sees it is that you gotta continue to keep fighting. You gotta just do what you can. And for Logan, as she puts it, he's one of the best fighters that she's ever seen. And she's imploring him to remember why he chose to fight in the first place. And continues on by saying, even if sometimes the darkness gets a little too close to winning. Now, in the conclusion here of this conversation, she's like, all right, now come down from here. Mikhail and Abigail, they've called a meeting and it's a family affair. And yeah, that means you too. Now, of course, on their way there, Logan sees his good old pal, Sabretooth. Now, reminder here that Sabretooth is good in this universe, but Logan is pretty pissed off with him right now because as shown in the previous issues here, they had made a deal. Logan had asked that if Wolverine ever got caught, that Sabretooth was supposed to find him and kill him, to which Creed explains, he's like, bro, it's not like I had an actual chance to do anything about it until you literally showed up in my bar. But before things could fester a little bit more and get heated, Kitty comes in and breaks it up. So when we fast forward to this meeting, we see here Mikhail Rasputin, and then we also see Abigail Brand. Now, Mikhail starts off by introducing the new recruits while also welcoming back Logan as well. Now, this dude does address the elephant in the room here because people are anxious about the Winter Soldier being in their presence, but he does assure them, he's like, his Winter Soldier programming has been overwritten by the One, aka David Harler, aka, as a lot of you know from the 616 Legion. Now, just as a quick backstory here to Mikhail, he used to be one of the leaders here of the Eurasia Republic, but he decided to leave because, as he puts it, he's like, they are lost, talking about his siblings and Omega Red and how they pledge fealty to one alone, the dark secret of our world. Now, what he's referring to here obviously is the Maker. And he continues on, he's like, while his siblings were torturing their own kind for nefarious gain, he began to secretly coordinate the opposition strategy with Hank McCoy and also Abigail Brand. So what this did is that it led him to faking his own death, where he then teleported to safety. And up until now, the opposition has basically been fighting a war that seems incredibly unwinnable. But right now, the way that they see it is that their strongest weapon, the Winter Soldier, is off the battlefield, and now he's on their side, so they have an open window here. Now, as Abigail puts it, she's like, this was a miscalculation on their part. And as they continue on, with the opposition's own bases being hit by, of course, the Winter Soldier himself, they now feel that with the Winter Soldier on their side, it's their opportunity to strike. Now, the target that they have here is a prison on Snake Island out in the Black Sea, known as Stabilny, which I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Now, this here is another facility where mutants are being experimented on, and the only reason why they even know that this place exists in the first place is because when David Haller was probing the mind of Wolverine, they were able to see this location because otherwise this location is not on any maps or shown in any databases. But the thing here is that due to the Eurasian Republic increasing their army around that area, they need a skilled team that can go in. So Beast, he starts calling out the members of this team and their code names. He calls out Remy, aka Gambit. He calls out Kitty, aka Sprite, which I'm not quite sure I love that nickname. Then we got Romanova as the Black Widow. We got Alexei Shostakov, aka Guardian. We got Hank, aka Beast. But then when he gets to Logan, he's like, yeah, I don't really know what your aka is. But what I thought was kind of funny here is that we find out that Mikhail goes by the name of Archangel, which is 100% some foreshadowing, right? Now, this is when Alexei steps in here and he calls out this name, Rosomaka, I believe is how you pronounce it. And what that stands for here is Wolverine. And that is how Logan got his nickname here in this universe. Now, speaking here of the Eurasian Republic, back at their base, Dr. Prostovich right now is absolutely pooping bricks right now. Because ever since the loss of the Winter Soldier, she's been trying to find him and track him down, which is something, by the way, that the Eurasian Republic leaders do not know. Well, until now, because that changed pretty quickly, because here comes in Omega Red. And when Dr. Prostovich tries to explain that it wasn't her fault, my guy was not trying to hear that at all. And then he scoops her up and then brings her directly to Magic. And then Magic, she decides to have them both take a visit to Limbo. Yo, the thing is that she immediately starts taunting Dr. Prostovich. She's like, you've been bad, Dr. Prostovich, and the bad must be punished. Don't you think? So Dr. Prostovich, she doesn't know where she is. Now, of course, she's here, to which Magic is like, oh, come on now. You've not heard whispers of Limbo? To which Dr. Prostovich is like, so it is real. So then Magic continues on. She's like, yes, it is very, very real, which is why it is best for you not to make mistakes or to lose Republic property, because there are hungry things in here. And that is when these demons start to come out and they start to go after Dr. Prostovich. Now, Magic continues on. She's like, I'm a little eager to throw them your bones. To which she's like, no, please, Leader Rasputin, don't do it. And of course, Magic is all about the torture because now she has these demons pulling Dr. Prostovich in all different type of directions. As she continues to say, scream, doctor, feel the pain in your joints, the ache in your muscles, feel their fingers tear through your clothes, breaking your skin. And Dr. Prostovich is like, nah, stop them, please. I can do it. I have a way. I can. So Magic is like, hold on, a way to what? To which then she's like, I beg forgiveness, Leader Rasputin. And Magic is like, yes, Dr. Prostovich, beg like the dog you are. But apparently that was enough information because Magic ends up returning her here to the outside world. And when she brings her back, Magic is pulling her by the hair too. And she's like, Dr. Prostovich is so sorry, brother. So very sorry that she has let us spill a little secret. Why don't you tell us, doctor? Tell us all about your little plan. Which is when she says, I have discovered a possibility, a way to harness the power at the heart of the cerebellum. I need time to test, but to use it would mean the utter destruction of the opposition, once and for all. And that's when Colossus is like, okay, Dr. Prostovich, you got my attention. Now, for context here, the cerebellum that she's talking about, this is something that was referenced here back in issue number 4. And back when they were trying to bring back and gain control of the Winter Soldier's mind after Kitty Pryde had stuck her fingers into it. This is when we saw the connection to something even more dangerous because we saw the Phoenix specimen that was being basically suspended and hung up, and then she was being powered here by Charles Xavier's brain. And this is how and what they were using here to control Wolverine and any of the other specimens that they were working with. So this kind of looks like a Cerebro, and listen, I'm gonna let them cook because this looks like issues about to really hit the fan here. But for now, let's put a pin in that because the opposition, as we remember here, they have a date on Snake Island. And Wolverine at this point, he's mostly just thinking about revenge. Because as he mentions here, he starts off by saying this. He's like, Is this what I am? As he's looking at his mask, a soulless, effing monster driven to kill? Or am I something more? Am I worth saving? I once served with a fella from some island named Genosha. He told me about the history at the place, told me about a 1,000-year-old ritual, not performed anymore, but it was once the law of the land. To become an adult, the people of Genosha would undergo an exorcism. So you can hear here that they've completely changed up what Genosha looked like, at least in the Ultimate Universe. And he continues on, he's like, they purged themselves of the past and emerged renewed. If they didn't, they were doomed to a kind of limbo. They were considered unclean, fodder for the demons. Once again, loving the references here. And he continues on, he's like, they stripped down and uncovered themselves in chalk, a symbol of purification. A priest would feed them a fungus that'll make them hallucinate. They'd set them out in the wild, and then they'd face themselves. And here, obviously, this is symbolic because we see here where Ultimate Wolverine is now getting a new suit, and we see that white X on the front, that white chalk that he's probably talking about, right? And then he continues on, he's like, after what I had done as Winter Soldier, I needed something. I'd done bad things before, worse hell as they say, but it wasn't me. And whoever the hell it was, I want him out of me. I want to be clean, free, and I want revenge. I remake myself like the old ritual says. I take the things they used to change me and I make them mine. I feel something changing in me as I pull on the clothes of my enemy. It's like I'm peeling skin away. It feels raw. I can feel the blood pumping hot in my veins, hearts thumping. I ain't what they said I was, not anymore. Now I'm reborn. And those sick don't know what's coming their way. So as they arrive here at their destination on Snake Island, we see the team hop out of a boat, and Wolverine is looking so mean right now. I absolutely love it. And I do want to point something out here because Abigail, as she jumps out, she runs and she's like, let's free some muties. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's not a slur in this universe. Now, as they get closer here to the gate, we see that Gambit throws some cards at it. And then, as requested, he takes out the mines by placing his fingers on the ground and lighting them suckers up. And I really like this little moment right here between him and Kitty where he says, easy like Sunday morning. And then she replies back and it's like, whatever you say, magic hands. And I feel like she meant that in more ways than one, but once again, I'm gonna leave that alone. So onward they go, and Kitty is asked to go in for recon. But at the same time, Wolverine is feeling that something is off, and he and Widow discuss how there are currently right now no guards, which of course is strange because why would you leave a top secret prison unguarded? Which is when Kitty then comes back out and she is absolutely mortified, and she says there was so much bodies, there were bodies everywhere. So Logan is like, all right, get the door open. And when he goes in, it's just like Kitty said, a pool of corpse. So now this rescue mission has turned into something completely different. And when Wolverine goes to inspect, he finds a blade, but when asked what it is, he says he doesn't know. So right away, we know that it's not adamantium, at least. Now, Hank is not having a good feeling about this here, but Abigail doesn't want to change the plan. She states, we get in, we get out, because we have muties to save. To which Beast replies, he's like, yeah, if they're alive. Man has a point. Now, as they go down these stairs, there are more bodies that we're seeing, but this time as they get closer, they see something else, or I should say, rather someone else. A man with wings hiding his face, and he just keeps repeating, I won't let you, I won't let you, I won't let you. Now, Kitty recognizes him. She's seen his name in the files. His name is Warren Worthington, and she knows that he's scared and she wants to help him, which I don't know why, but she didn't at least think about her approach first, right? Like, be careful here. Because when she calls his name and gets closer, my guy turns around and then he immediately unsheathes like few fangs right at the team. Now, luckily, Kitty was able to phase through it, but Wolverine yells for the others to get down, but that was far too late because Beast, he got one right in the eye and then one right in the shoulder, and then Abigail, she got one right in her neck, and by the looks of it, like, she is gone. And in this next moment here, when you see Warren fully, this dude looks so dark and creepy, like completely unrecognizable, right? And this time he yells, "I won't let you." So then Wolverine, he goes on the attack. And I gotta say this there, I love how Logan is so tactical with this approach here, because with his left hand, he uses his claws to pin down Warren's legs. And then with the other hand, he stabs him right through the ankles. Now, Widow, she tries to stun him, right? But it really kind of doesn't really have much of an effect here. And then Gambit uses his kinetic energy, which ultimately kind of knocks him back a little bit. And then Guardian, he hits him with a two-piece, man, because he has this like a lovely hammer here that I love, yo. I like that hammer, it looks pretty good. And that's enough to knock homeboy unconscious. And when they were done, Wolverine's like, "Oh, yeah, right, he needs help." To which Kitty asks a question, she's like, "You did, didn't you?" Now, Wolverine, he's like, "Yo, I know it's not him. It's this damn country, the messing around with brains, the experiments. I got saved, I came back, yeah, but how do we know that they ain't changed him so much that he can't ever go back? This is not a damsel in distress, kid. It's a effing horseman of the apocalypse." Once again, like the reference. It's death on metal wings. Everything it touches dies. Claws, wings, the one thing that matters is how well does it kill. So even if we can, does he deserve saving? Does he even want it? And then he asks the question, he's like, "Did I?" To which Kitty responds back, she's like, "Yes, he deserves a second chance, just like you did." To which he responds back, he's like, "Then you better hotwire his brain before he kills you too." But then as Wolverine is walking back up the stairs here, he can hear something coming from some room. And he hears the words that say, "Dr. Strugatsky, this is Director Prostovich. We have not had a new update on the Angel Specimen experiments." And she continues on, she's like, "Nor have we had any updates here on the Kotzli Mogs, also Platenly." Oh my gosh, I'm butchering these names, or the Mimic Specimens. Now, I try to look this up here. The Costly Mogs is Russian for bone brain, which I assume could be a character like Marrow, or it could be a character like Zorn, although Zorn would probably be a little bit more metaphorical, so probably not. Osla Patendli here is Russian for dazzling or blinding, which could be Cyclops, or it could just very well be Dazzler. And I'm assuming Mimic could be Morph, although I'm not sure if they're talking about mimicking powers or just mimicking what someone looks like. So listen, I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are in regards to who these characters could be. So let's continue on. The message continues by saying, "Leaders Rasputin and Arosovich are growing impatient, Doctor. I can only make excuses for so long until your incompetence begins to stain my credibility too." And when they finally get to the location here of where this voice is coming from, we see on the screen here, Dr. Prostovich. And I gotta say, for someone that is not treated very well by the Rasputins, like, she doesn't really treat her employees well either. Because he's like, "Dr. Strugatsky, are you there? If you do not respond, I will be forced to send an armed," I'm assuming she was gonna say force, "until she sees someone on the other side." And she says, "Who is that? Step forward so I can see you there." And as Wolverine gets closer, that's when she realizes, oh shoot, the Winter Soldier. And then she's like, "You're alive." And Wolverine's like, "F that nonsense," and completely destroys the computer. And when Kitty asks the question, she's like, "Who the hell was that?" He responds, he's like, "Somebody who's gonna be dead pretty soon." All right, so as usual here, a lot's going on in these two issues. I was actually hoping that we were gonna see a Magic and Wolverine showdown here, but I guess we're gonna have to wait until a little bit later on. But let me know what y'all think. Leave it down below in the comments. Also, leave a like on this video here for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you are brand new to the channel. Also, another way to be able to keep up with Keepin' It Comic here is by checking out our website at keepinitcomic.com. The link for that is going to be down below in the description. It is also one of the ways that you can support us as well, because on our website, we do have linked to some new merch that we just created over the past couple weeks, celebrating the Fantastic Four movies, celebrating the Superman movie, and a few other items that are there as well. We appreciate you watching as always, and thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye!